Well, the sun's out finally. This morning it was pretty crappy weather down by the house. We're probably right at 2 hours and 15 minutes from the house. We left about 7. It's probably 10 o'clock right now. This is our second stop, but we're right here close to where we got to go. But we both have to take a leak and do our thing, and this is the place. The old Pump and Munch. The guy told us that it was about 10 minutes from this place, and I had to Google Pump and Munch. And I don't think you guys want to do that on your spare time, just so you know. But we're here. We're gonna go get us a truck. So well, back at the old Pump and Munch, but we drug a nice, clean, crisp unit out of the woods. There she is. She is a fine pile of American rust. But you guys are wondering why I'm probably buying this. Some of you guys that follow the channel for, you know, the trucks and projects I'm working on, you're wondering like, what the heck is this guy doing? But this truck is actually kind of a rare truck to speak. That door says 1500, right? 6 lug axles, right? Check this out. It's got a 14 bolt rear end in it. The RPO code underneath the dash says GU6, which is 373 gears. It's got a G80 locker in it, so it's a posi track rear end. And yeah, this is gonna go in that red truck. But most people are gonna wonder why they should buy such a beater of a truck. That rear end is 33 spline with a locker, and people are making like well over 1,000 horsepower on this axle. You might not with the locker, but I've got a bigger locker in that. You pay $700 for a good locker, and this thing's 1,000 horsepower rear end. You couldn't buy a 9-inch. You couldn't buy a big 14 bolt. You could like Dana 70, whatever. This rear end to keep a 6 lug axle is where it's at. So this truck, it ran. It drove right up on here. There's another cool thing, is it's got a 5-speed manual transmission in it. If this thing's got an NV4500 in it, I could sell the transmission for what I paid for the truck. Some people don't know what they have. So if you can sit here and you can look deep down into these trucks, this is the one you need to look down deep in. There is so many good parts in these trucks that people just don't know about. The interior is complete. It's quite dirty. There's not one clean panel on it. Like, I thought the fenders would be clean. They're rusted right here. Like, it's gone. Like, but you can't buy a rear diff and you can't buy a front diff and change the gear ratios in either of them to help you out for any cheaper than what I just bought this truck for. And I bet you I'm gonna make my money back on these parts. So if you guys are looking at buying an OBS Chevy, this is the freaking truck to get. I mean, it looks like a big giant pile of hot steamy poop, but this thing is technically a nice unit with the front diff that I'm going to take out, the rear diff, 373 gears, a posi track rear end. I mean, it's got a G80 locker in it, which isn't the best, but it's got a locker in it. You know, for factory and cheap, this is what you need. And to be honest with you, it's not in bad shape. Like, the interior is a little rough. It's got a 60/40 bench seat. Door panels are a little rough. This door really isn't even that rusted compared to most. I mean, this is typical Chevy rust, honestly, but it does have a body lift on it. I don't care. This truck is going to the scrapyard once I'm done with it. I'm literally just parting it out. So I'm going to lay underneath here and see if it's got the good transmission in it. We'll keep you updated. Well, I just got underneath it, crawled underneath it. It does have an NV3500 in it, which ain't a big deal. I was hoping I was going to get real lucky and it have an NV4500 in it, because if it had a 4500 in it, that's $1,000 transmission. And the 3500s, to the right guy, you could probably sell to $300, $400, $500. So that's half of what I paid for it. So more than okay with that. The wheels and tires, they're just wheels and tires. probably worth $100 maybe. Nothing else on this truck is really worth much. I am going to take that glass out and put it in that truck because that's got a factory tinted glass in it. It makes my window tint at night look like a gray instead of a black. So that's what I'm going to do. Parts truck, $100 out of the engine, you know, a couple $100 out of the transmission maybe, $100 out of the wheels. Somebody might want a bumper. I mean, it's not rusty. The rear bumper's not rusty. I don't have a tailgate, but I don't really care. Some of the interior pieces, we'll make our money back. But the rear end and the front diff, you couldn't buy, rebuild, hold up to that much power at all for what we paid for this truck. So there we are, back to the house. Well, we made it home. Damned old brake line blowed already. Didn't even drive it. Pulled up on the trailer and the thing just, I guess, decided to blow. I thought we had a gas leak or something, but it's just a brake line. So we're gonna get this thing unloaded and go from there. So. Running. This thing kind of has a, I guess, a fuel pressure regulator issue, or it bleeds off pressure or something or another. Not really my problem, but we're gonna go take this thing for a little drive just to make sure everything's good, because I do plan on parting this truck out, just to kind of keep you guys in the loop about how you can do this stuff. Pretty easy. I mean, if you want to deal with the old Facebook marketplace losers, then that's fine, but I mean, I'm a loser on there sometimes too, but usually you can get a lot of good parts. Like, look at this headliner. It's a fancy guy. Like, you know, all these freaking lights and everything work. You got a freaking sunglass holder dealy whopper here. Like, all this stuff, everything. This, like, everything in here works. This headliner ain't sagging, nothing. I mean, you could sell this seat for 50 bucks. I mean, somebody might want the steering column because it's a manual steering column. The clutch pedal assembly, people pay 100 bucks for those things sometimes. Door panels are kind of roached, but you can get 20, 30 bucks for a door panel. The glove box compartment thing, you can get, I mean, if you wanted to take your time and then get this thing out of here, you could get some money on parts. But we're gonna go take this thing for a drive, because this transmission most likely will be for sale. So if any of you guys need a full-wheel drive NV 3500, let me know. But so far, I've driven this truck. Well, I say driven. I backed this thing off the freaking trailer yesterday, and it was in full-wheel drive, I guess, because the guy parked it down in a hill. But I backed it off the trailer, and I just was going backwards, put it in first, dumped the clutch, and it went, it just took off. So, I mean, I wanted to make sure that some shit was solid, and not gonna bust or break or anything. So we it was solid. But that's third gear. That truck kind of pulls and wobbles and drives and stuff. The shift light works. I put some coolant in it, and I do think that it might be losing a little coolant somewhere along the line, but I don't think it's in the oil. So, but hell, there's fourth gear. It's quiet as can be honest. I mean, I got the window down. I'm talking to you guys, and you guys can probably hear me just fine. So, but I know the back brakes, we have no fluid in the back brakes whatsoever, but the front brakes still work. So I just kind of wanted to make sure that fifth gear is usually the problem child in these things. So I'm going to kind of get it up to speed a little bit here, stick it in fifth, make sure it's all quiet, and then I can have video proof, and I can sell it to somebody for, you know, whatever NV 3500 goes for four-wheel drive that's quiet. You know, somebody will probably pay a couple, $300, $400, $500 for it. But like I said, I paid $1,000 for this truck, and I'm gonna put the rear end and front diff in that maroon truck of mine because it's got 373 gears, which for a lot of people, if you're gonna run a standard truck tire, that's a really good gear to make good power and to do a lot of good stuff, towing, everything like that. So I mean, you're looking at, man, it's a kind of a dumb idea not to buy this truck for $1,000. I mean, you should buy this truck for $1,000. Anybody should. So, but like, this truck is the perfect truck to buy if you plan on LS swapping an OBS Chevy truck. If you have a truck already, but it's got a 10-bolt in it, I mean, this truck is like the perfect truck for somebody to buy. So I just wanted to keep you guys a little updated on these trucks. Just because it's rusty and trash, it's still got a lot of good parts. Like I said, $1,000, a good solid rear end that'll hold 600, 700, 800 horse if you put a good locker in it. The front diffs, they're usually pretty good for a couple, 300, 400, 500 horse. I mean, you're cooking with peanut oil here when you got a truck like this. Like I said, this thing is far from nice, far from a peach. This thing is very, very poopy in my opinion, but it's got a lot of good parts that you guys could use for a race truck or a fun having truck, a haul truck. You know, this truck right here is a good parts truck to keep your eyes out on. So that's all I wanted to say kind of about this truck. That'll probably do it for this video. You might get a couple videos here and there, but this truck will be tore apart in the next week. So I just wanted to give you guys a little update on what to buy or what to look for when buying a truck. This is a pretty peachy truck for, you know, what I tend to do with that maroon truck. So just like that, we're out. Catch you on the next truck.